Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Finance and Audit Committee meeting, our regularly scheduled time here at Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District. I'd like to welcome everyone and call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Director Weber,
Present.
Director Jones,
Aye, here.
Director Clark.
Here.
All are present. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And now we have the public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within committee's scope, including items on or not on the agenda. We have any cards or anyone online?
No, we do not. No public comments.
All right, our next item, consent items. We have actions. We have one consent item. Chair will entertain a motion. First and seconded, please call the roll.
Director Weber.
Aye.
Director Clark. Director Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. And now we'll go to the presentation items, bi-monthly fiscal reports through April 30th, 2024. Couple months there. Welcome to the podium, CFO.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Chair, Directors, Fire Chief House, colleagues, members of the public. Next slide is up, good. Thank you. For tonight's presentation, this is the bi-monthly fiscal report covering the first 10 months of the 23-24 fiscal year. Takes us through the end of April. As usual, this presentation is to help you monitor the fiscal health of the district and identify trends through the fiscal year. Jumping right in, this is the cash balance trends through the end of April again. This chart shows the updated trends. I want to first note, I hate to start the presentation on the correction, but there is a correction on this slide that's relative to what you received in the board packet. And it's for the month of March. It's not at the month. It's not at the end where April has been, but in March we had a number that was higher than it actually is. So that's been corrected on this slide. But the April numbers were correct on your packet and on the slide, of course. Everything is correct on this slide. So with that, the trajectory after the 10 months had followed a historical pattern, pretty much up until April. The county transferred, so you see that green line is quite a bit higher than the red line in April. That is due to a timing difference where the county had not transferred the balances into our funds. So it shows at 14 million, last year at 85. Those funds came in the beginning of May, so they missed the cutoff for this presentation. That's why you have that discrepancy where the far red dot is at 14 million and above that with the arrow is 85.9. That is the cash balance trends through April. General fund revenues is a related slide, and I'll talk about that. I'll explain how that works as well. But as you can tell, there's in the general fund revenues, we have the two big jumps. We have mainly the property tax payments in December, and then again in April. And you can see that with the three lines where they all follow that pattern with the two leaps. The red line is the actuals for this current fiscal year, 23-24. The green line is prior year. And the blue line we add that shows the most recent budget. And that's for the mid-year budget, most recently a past budget. This is through April 30, so relevant or related to the mid-year budget, even though we did just adopt a prelim a couple weeks ago. So the revenues were $251.1 million through April, which is $14.1 million more than last year and $12.7 million less than the mid-year budget forecast. So I do want to note that you can see there that the April numbers are up, and on the prior slide I noted that there was a gap. So why do I show a gap on one and not the other? Well, it is a timing difference. So with this slide, the county reports what we're going to receive, and so we record that as our total revenues. But on the prior slide, I was saying that the actual funds had not been transferred. So there was a gap of a few days and it slipped into May. And that's why you have that discrepancy between the two slides. So looking at a component of medic revenues is the EMS revenues. Let's see. Medic revenues are nearly keeping pace with the mid-year budget at $38.2 million. They're $2.3 million higher than the prior year and about $130,000 lower than mid-year budget. That's that gap, that tiny little gap between the red and the blue triangles at the right there. If you recall my comments from the last presentation, there was a cyber attack on a payment provider that slowed payments in March. So you see how the red line deviated from the blue, and then they came back pretty close together in April. That's what that trend demonstrates. Total EMS expected at mid-year budget is 47.4 million. That's the far right of the blue, and right now we are on track. We anticipate we will hit that mark. Okay, shifting from general fund revenues to IGT revenues that become general fund revenues. These are the next two slides have to do with PPGMT, the Public Provider Ground Emergency Medical Transport Program. And this first slide is the first 6 months of the fiscal year. So this isn't 23-24, this is 22-23, but I'm going to show you the full picture of everything that we've received from PPGMT. As you can see, the bar on the far left, 1.66 million, that is the average amount we expect to receive every month. As you can see, the red bars are all a little bit lower. There's somewhere around, but let's say 1.4 million. We have that continuing gap with payments that are due from DHCS that have not been paid, and so that is the ongoing most of the ongoing shortfall from the prior year. And then the next slide showing it's the same data, the same at the far left is the 1.66 million we expect to receive every month. And you can see the closer you get, the further to the right or the closer you get to the current month, the numbers go down as the health plans, they tend not to pay in the same month or even the next month. They will pay 2 or 3 or 4 more months later to catch up. So the further back you go to July of this fiscal year, the closer you get to the 1.6 million, which we expect. And again, the gap for the same reason I just mentioned, mainly a DHCS payment issue. The total amount, I know we talk about this all the time. What is the total amount that we are owed? It's about 8.1 million. That's adding up all the gaps from on this slide and the prior slide, you get to about 8.1 million. Shifting from general fund revenues and IGT revenues to general fund expenditures. This is, again, showing the past year in the green line, the current year with the red line, the budget with the blue. Total expenditures after 10 months. Let's see, the total is 231.7 million in actuals through April. That's 11 million more than last year and $17 million less than what was budgeted in April. So we are underspending relative to what's in the budget by about 17 million. Looking at a component of expenditures, labor costs. Labor costs are tracking really close to what we have in the budget. Those blue and red lines are almost the same line there. Let's see. At the end of April, actual labor costs were 197.1 million, and that's about $13.5 million higher than last year's end of April figure of 183.6 million. And that is the last of our general fund expenditure slides. Now, general fund reserves, you can see that the reserve amounts, the red line at actuals relative to the green line of prior year, is tracking pretty closely. We're actually, at the end of April, we're up a little higher than last year. At the end of April, our reserve rose to 58.1 million. That's about $7.2 million higher than last year at the same point when it was 50.9. And similar to the earlier cash slide, you can see there's two dips and 2 climbs when those property tax payments come in. We expect the next 2 months of this report that the number that the reserve will dip below, will dip down and sort of mirror what's in the green line and stay below the purple line, which I didn't mention. The purple dotted line is the 15% reserve. That's the reserve update. Next, moving to the CERT, the California Employers Retirement Benefit Trust Fund. This is the total value of our fund is shown at the top at 82.6 million, which is about $600,000 less than the last bi-monthly fiscal report I presented. And that if you look closely all the way to the right there, you can see that the trend in the green area, which is our earnings, was going up, and then there was a little dip at the bottom. Incidentally, we had a gain in the month of March, and then we had a loss in the month of April, just really just due to market fluctuations. The total loss, the total decline was about 600,000 relative to the last report. So when I reported that the value was 83.2 million. Let's see. Look at the CERT overall. Let's see, as shown on the slide, since inception, the district has contributed 59.8 million of the 82.7 million in value. The annualized rate of return after 11 and a half years is still about 6.4%. And that is the CERT update. So your takeaways for this from this bi-monthly fiscal report is ending cash balance is substantially lower than the prior year due to delayed property tax payment transfers from the county to our funds. Overall, general fund revenue is still lagging about 12.7 million below the mid-year budget forecast. And some of that is timing related, of course. The prior year PPGMT payment gaps persist, so we're due about 8.1 million over the 2 fiscal years. General fund expenditures were $17 million lower than the mid-year budget estimate. And last CERT balance dipped about 600,000, mainly due to market performance in April. And those are the main takeaways. And this is a receive and file presentation, and I welcome your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. O'Toole. Are there any questions from my fellow directors?
Question. It goes beyond the April timeframe here, but it's a report recently on ambulance revenues.
I think it's PPGMT revenues. Can you expand on those? Are you aware of those off the top of your head?
The trends
What
after
we
April.
recently just received.
Are you talking about the dashboard?
Yes.
He's referring to the dashboard.
So the dashboard report was through April for PPG,
Oh, was it?
PPGMT. So it should
Okay.
match what was
My
presented.
mistake. I read it wrong. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, thank you very much for all the numbers. We appreciate it very much. Is there anything for the good of the order from my fellow directors or the fire chief? This meeting is.
Oh, thank you. We need-
All righty. Well done. Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.